Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So a lot of stuff to get through, so let's just kind of jump in here. We have a little bit of Seven Havens information. Now it's pretty small scale stuff. I don't think there's any like maybe giant reveals here, but there's some potentially interesting ideas because we learn a little bit about some of the other characters, that sort of thing. But yeah, this comes from casting call information. Now some of this we knew from the leaks already about the twins, but we didn't have, I think, the casting call information for the other characters, which is kind of the new thing here. So again, remember our twins are Pavi and Nisha. Nisha's name hasn't been officially kind of revealed yet, but again, from the leaks, we know that's who it is. And then you can see here in the casting call, they are kind of codenamed as Priya and Nikki. So yeah, they're seeking teens or young adults to play twins, 9 years old. So again, is this super accurate? You'll note when we go straight down to J that it's a little bit more kind of broad. So like, I'm not sure if these are the actual locked in ages of the characters. Like when we officially get these details, they might say that they're actually about 10, for instance. Like they could do something like that. That's just what the cast call information says. The kind of nation, I suppose, that they're from in the show kind of gets revealed with the what they talk about in terms of the inspiration for the character: South Asian, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh type thing. They are twin heroines, mirrors of one another, independent, kind, and resourceful. Priya is a reluctant hero who avoids altercations or fighting. Also a talented musician. So again, we've seen this one before. Do note this little detail there. So an incident in her early childhood, that's why she is missing a leg. So it's not that she was born without a leg. So there's obviously a mystery surrounding that and what exactly happened to cause that. Also, what happened to separate the twins. That sort of idea. So she is quirky, cautious, empathetic, and grounded. Nikki is the snarky opposite to Priya. She loves her powers and the attention it affords her. Powers is an interesting word here, but we'll leave that there for now. And yeah, she kind of hides behind the confidence that she has in her powers, but she actually feels like a fish out of water. She has a wild side, so sharp, snarky, wild, mischievous. Same background, of course. And they are open to one actor playing both roles. So when we get the official announcements on this, it could be a situation where one voice actor has both of these roles, but it could also be separate, of course. So yeah, series regular, of course, means they're going to be in basically every episode. That makes sense. Jin is obviously J, so a teen, so 16 to 20 years old, which is, I suppose, basically the range I think most people have for the reveal from the image we got at SDCC. Definitely makes sense. Background is monastic cultures of Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, so clearly air nomad is definitely the way they're leaning with this, of course. Teen prodigy, teacher for the young heroines, a sweet and lovable mentor for Priya and Nikki. Jin is a bit of a goody two-shoes. He's a member of an elite task force. I wonder what that means. He has a strong sense of integrity and ethics. However, his rebellious side will come out through his relationship with the young girls. He'll be forced to question his black and white sense of morality through the series, and he will have same-sex love interests. So that's an interesting kind of detail there in terms of like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder, the fact that that's there in his character description is like, okay, so are we kind of doing stuff with that from the beginning? That's definitely kind of progress compared to, like that coming more into play towards the end of Korra, but they're kind of having one of the main characters just, I guess, be quite open about that in the potential early episodes of this series. That's interesting. He's naive, rule follower, loyal, kind, and yeah, no accent. So yeah, that's about what we probably expected from Jin. And then the other characters here, you can see there's 4 other characters listed. 2 of them are possible recurring down here, and then the other 2 are recurring. So Uki is apparently 15 years old. Background is Alaskan natives, indigenous people of the Arctic and subarctic. So clearly they're leaning for water tribe character here, both with Uki and a Mao. So yeah, a prankster always loves to make jokes, find the funny side of a serious situation. A Mao is a 7-year-old female, also, I guess, water tribe background. Super sharp, witty, pragmatic, very street smart, despite her young age. Loyalty up for grabs to the highest bidder. So a bit of a Scoochie character, I guess, there. Whereas this, I guess, is our maybe comic relief character. They don't really make a ton of details about this. But I found it interesting, just the 15-year-old character. So, like, that leaves kind of, like, in the middle, kind of between, like, Jin and Priya and Nikki. The final two characters, 8 years old, East Asian female and East Asian male, Fang and Ping. East Asian, China, Japan, Mongolia, South Korea, Taiwan background. So that probably leans more Fire Nation, I would guess, background. So yeah, the Aurora's World's version of a budding theatre kid. Dramatic, bossy, born to be on the stage, and a kid who is not as into acting as Fang, especially in the role in the play Ping is assigned to. So what play, what are we talking about here? Is this something that's happening in the Haven City, Alora, that there is the kids are performing in a play or something like that? What's the significance of this? Hard to say overall, because it is just casting information. And again, possible recurring to me reads as they appear maybe in one episode and maybe we'll bring them back for season 2, but it's hard to speculate on what exactly that means. But still, some interesting stuff there, a few kind of character details, but again, they might have changed some of that stuff because it is just kind of cast and call information compared to the finalized kind of version of a lot of this stuff. Other information here is just that apparently Tanya Gennady is going to voice a character in Seven Havens at some stage. There's really not a lot of information with this one here. But it says here, she mentioned on Instagram in October 2024 that she was working on an exciting but secret animated show, which could mean that maybe she's only a season 2 character, because we know that like a lot of the casting stuff for like season 1 I think was like circa 2023 potentially, but it's hard to speculate about the exact timeline on a bunch of this stuff. So yeah, she is Miko from Transformers Prime, so that's probably one of her main roles. But on the Avatar side of things, she did voice Rangi in Avatar Generations, so a little bit of an Avatar connection there, which is cool. So exciting that she's coming on for Seven Havens. And I don't know, the only detail here is that it's a recurring role in the series, so if that had said series regular, I would have been maybe kind of like, well, I guess we maybe have our Pavi or Nisha voice actor or both. But recurring role likely means it's maybe one of the other characters. But again, hard to speculate. But that's what we have for Seven Havens right now. Let's switch over to talk about New York Comic Con. They've put together what seems to be most of the schedule for most of the days. I don't think this is going to be a thing where it's like we're waiting day by day to see all this stuff announced. I don't think the full schedule has been announced. It seems like some of the panels for the bigger stages still have to be announced. We'll see how it goes. But right now, there is only one Avatar panel on the schedule. So on Friday, October 10th, we are getting our Avatar publishing panel. So it's called the same thing it's always called. The description is the same thing it's always called. There is no mention of anyone who's actually on the panel, apart from the fact that the description says Abrams, Dark Horse, Webtoon, and Magpie Games. So yeah, it's going to be 6:30 to 7:30, which is better because, again, it's New York Comic Con, so that's only, for me, like, what, 11:30 to 12:30, so that's a lot better for me in terms of trying to actually, like, interact with this panel and cover it. Very brief speculation. I don't want to spend too much time here because I want to wait to do a speculation video closer to the time. Dark Horse, of course, will have to go into a little bit more detail on the Kaya comic and the Kyoshi Warrior miniseries that they announced at San Diego Comic-Con. They did a sort of sneak peek announcement that really didn't have many details. This would have to be the time to give out those details, as in books with titles, logos on covers, tell us the dates for these books, creative teams, that sort of thing. Maybe they announced the next Avatar one-shot comic, but again, without having the full details on what their plan is for the miniseries, is that like a replacement or is it an extra thing? We don't even know if we're maybe expecting an Avatar one-shot comic announcement or not. Otherwise, Abrams is maybe the only thing you might expect something from. Avatar Legacy Book 2. It's going to be too close to, Awakening of Roku won't be out yet. That's December 30th. This will be in October, of course. I doubt they're going to talk about it that much. We still don't have the full description. Maybe the full description for that book gets revealed around New York Comic Con, but that's a bit of a weird one where that would just be listings being updated. It would be cool if they revealed that, like, you know, what we're expecting, Karuk is the next Chronicles of the Avatar after Awakening of Roku, but the timing might not work out for them. So like I said, Avatar Legacy, the City of Echoes kind of second book would be the thing I expect. Again, the idea there is that those are kind of individual books, so this won't be a follow-up following Jin. It can go to a different era about like a Korra minor character. They can go to the other eras if they want, so that could be somewhat interesting if they're at all prepared for that reveal. Usually the idea would be that, I'm guessing it's maybe a little bit too early to have a cover, but the title and maybe just highlighting who the character is would be a cool thing for them to reveal. Otherwise, I'm not expecting much from the other publishers. The timing on this one's going to be a bit weird, but we'll see what happens ultimately. As for why there are not any other panels, the merchandise panel was obviously going to be a thing where like they had their opportunity at SDCC. They don't feel they maybe need to do one here. As for a bigger panel, maybe another anniversary panel, that might be something they're maybe waiting to announce until later on when they have stuff better organized. It feels a bit weird because we're still in the 20th anniversary to maybe not do something like that as well, or even have like a Braving the Elements podcast panel. But again, I don't think the full schedule is out yet, so now is not the time to fully like judge whether or not they do or don't have the other stuff. Right now, we have a publishing panel. We do expect news from it. We'll see how it goes. Next, also on the comics, Alexandria Monique has confirmed that she is going to be the artist on the Kaya comic. They didn't say this at SDCC. The only reason it was ever in doubt is just because they didn't say this at SDCC, and there has been production issues on the first book in this series, the Mako comic. But now, no, it does seem like, you know, she's staying on board. The creative team that they announced for the trilogy, I guess, will be the team for the whole trilogy. It's really just now on what is the release date for the Kaya comic. I hope it's like February, March, April time, so it's only about a year between books. Anything longer than that, and it just feels like Korra comics are kind of almost being held back by their schedules. But yeah, the Kaya comic, exciting. Hope we get some good information on this going forward. Maybe the title, if they reveal that at New York Comic Con, might reveal something to us. But if the listings do go up and we get the actual text description, that would be very cool to get a full description on what's going on here. Plus, again, the Kyoshi Warrior miniseries also needs more details. Next, there have been rumors going around over the last kind of week or so that there will be new Avatar Fortnite stuff coming in the future. So you can see here, a new Avatar Fortnite wave is in the works. Now, the image they include here is Azula. I believe that is just more or less as a visual indicator that it's ATLA Avatar, not Blue People Avatar. I don't think the leaks actually know anything about a specific character, but Azula would be like, I suppose, part of the assumed next batch of characters, alongside probably Sokka and maybe Iroh. And then we'll see anyone else that they do, if they go into the Korra side of things. Especially like depending on what the timing on this may or may not be. Could this be the movie tie-in Fortnite thing, if they're doing anything there? That like might have been something they're getting prepared for a January release when we had the previous date for the movie, but now the movie's in October, so maybe that might be a situation that's happening here, and that's how they do it. Because I'm assuming Avatar, because it's been popular from the Wave 1, would definitely be on the table for, yeah, full-on movie tie-in when the movie actually comes out. But there is also a need, I think, for like ATLA and Korra to probably flesh out some of the stuff that they did in the first wave of characters. So, very exciting. This was a huge thing, I think, for Fortnite, for Avatar. Avatar fans really liked it, and definitely I think people want more. I hope this is maybe more than just a wave of stuff in the shop, though that's cool as well. It'd be cool if they brought back the map or did something different with the map. Like, we kind of changed the map with some of the temple stuff that they had, and they did have the Aang iceberg section, but it would be really cool if just, like, for whatever season this maybe happens in, you know, one of the places sort of just becomes, I don't know, like a mini bossing say or something like that, and you have these kind of big walls leading into the city. Like that would be cool to do as well, just to make it a little bit different than what they did for the first initial wave. So yeah, Avatar Fortnite, very excited to see that it seems like more stuff is incoming. A little bit of publishing information. The Netflix Avatar calendar. So this is the Abrams Deluxe Edition calendar for this year. It's actually for the live action Netflix show. That is out on Tuesday, 19th of August 2025. We have seen some images from this, of course, so you get a sense for what it is. If you're a fan of the Netflix show, this is one of the only like official pieces of merch that there is. So grab this if you want it, and you get this Appa poster. That's cool. Not one I'm picking up, just because I think they've gotten less and less creative with the calendars that they're doing. We'll see if they do one again for next year. Other little bit of publishing information is right up the top here. Avatar The Last Airbender Paint with Water has been delayed by like 8 months. This was previously scheduled for December 2025, and you can see now it's back to August 2026. That's a big delay for a book that was basically pretty much done, because they've had full preview pages up for a while now. So this seems like it's just making a decision to move when the book is just going to go on sale. It seems like they're leaning more towards maybe wanting this to be part of the build up to the movie, which again is October 2026. So this is only a few weeks before that. But we assume there'll be a trailer like before in around this time leading up to it. Might be a good time to make sure the sales on this book do quite well. That's the only way I can explain how a Paint with Water book is going to take this much extra longer to come out, is just they wanted positioned slightly better within the schedule. So that's that. Final piece of news is the one that I will actually do an entire separate video on tomorrow. I'm just going to very briefly go over this kind of overview style, but we have more Avatar Magic the Gathering spoilers. The entire beginner box has been kind of spoiled to us by IGN, so they're giving us the first look at the full beginner box. I would actually recommend watching the video as well, because like he does a partial kind of opening of the box. It's quite heavily edited, but you do see the bits and pieces as he opens it and kind of sorts through a few of the cards. So it's not just images of the cards themselves. You do actually see the product being opened a little bit, which is kind of cool. But yeah, the beginner box, again, we are talking about this product here. This is the product that will have 10 of the kind of jumpstart decks, the half decks in it. So you're getting like 200-ish cards. That's including lands, of course, so you can actually play. 2 of the 10 decks are complete kind of beginner kind of tutorial decks, and will guide you through potentially your first ever game of Magic. But the idea is that it is ultimately 10 mix and match half decks. So you grab this one and that one, put them together. Your friend puts 2 of them together. There's a game of Magic. And then you can mix and match again. Now we have the reveal of all these cards and all the themes and stuff like that. So you can see here, I'll just really quickly go over the themes. So Aang tutorial, you note how it says do not shuffle. This, as well as the Zuko tutorial deck, will be ordered in such a way where if you follow the manual, they'll guide you through turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, the entire gameplay of playing through a set game of Magic, if you're really not confident about how to play. But otherwise, you can afterwards, after your first game, shuffle this up and play. And you can see here, like the Aang deck is very cool here, because it has Aang, Appa, Momo, Katara, Sokka, and stuff like, you know, Aardvark Sloth, Sledding Otter Penguin, the Defender Tundra Wall is quite nice, and, you know, Wolf Cove Villager. Zuko, of course, has like Zuko, Iroh, Zhao, the Komodo Rhino, more representing early Zuko, I guess, here. You know, you've got an officer here. Pretty cool stuff. But the other themes, so they're the first 2. So 3 is allies, and you can see there is an Aang, but there's also our first Suki card in here as well. Pian Dao is in here, and this is really leaning into the ally mechanic, as well as the idea of making these 1/1 white tokens. So that's very cool. Next up we have spells, which of course has a Paku card in it and is all about, you know, using spells to your advantage, as well as some water tribe cards, so that's cool. Then you have the water bending deck with a different Katara card. So this is Katara Water Bending Prodigy. It's just Katara Bending Prodigy, full stop. You get a different Sokka once again. Bender's Water Skin, Giant Koi, the Terror of Serpent's Pass. There's some really fun cards in here that, again, I will go over in detail in a video tomorrow. Attacking is the next theme. So you can see the idea is, again, you can have a deck where you put the water bending deck together with the attacking deck, and you are playing basically blue, black as your deck, and you're kind of mixing these two themes together in your deck. Or, you can choose any of the other ones. So again, Beetlehead and Merchants, it highlights more of what's going to be in black in the set, which is cool. The Heibai card and art is very, very nice. Dai Li Indoctrination, Epic Downfall with the Azula art, very nice. Cat Gator. Counters gives us our first Long Feng card, as well as a bunch of Fire Nation stuff, Buzzard Wasps, Elephant Rats. Fire Bending is the next half deck with a different Zuko once again, but this one also has like the Rough Rhino, the Warden, Roku's Mastery as a spell, Yu-Yan Archers, as well as Fire Nation Archers, Chit-Sang on a card. Earthbending, very cool here. You get Toph, Haru, you get Boomy, Earth Rumble stuff in here, the Badger Mole. There's some nice theming in here. They're making sure that these decks, even in the kind of beginner kind of product, have the cards you want to have. So here's an animal themed deck with big creatures that features like the turtle ducks, the eel hounds, Flopsy, of course, hippo cows, the saber-toothed moose lion cub, not the cub, just the moose lion actually. And yeah, they're the themes that are in here. And then they do go over all the cards, which again, I will go over in a separate video tomorrow. But for now, that has been the video. So let me know what your thoughts were on all of that stuff. I'll also maybe quickly mention the Jazzwares toy line, if you're in America, does seem to be gradually showing up in Targets in America. At least parts of it are showing up. The Little Elementals, the gimmick figures, the Book 1 Aang and Zuko, and at least the Collector Zuko figure is showing up. I'm not sure how much else has shown up, but it is quite early for that stuff to be showing up. I'm a little bit surprised, but I've seen quite a few reports of people saying that they have found that stuff. So just keep an eye on that if you are interested in the Jazzwares line. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on the Seven Havens information here. More Fortnite potentially on the way for Avatar. The first sign of New York Comic Con information, and so on. But yeah, let me know below. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.